This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. I've been thinking ever since that game happened about some of the hidden gems, I think, that were in that game, right? Grant Delpit has been a player we've been talking about for a while, and it felt like at times that Grant Delpit was like a hypothetical football player. And what I mean by that was that the ideal of Grant Delpit for the longest time never matched up with the reality of Grant Delpit. But on Sunday, and to give Grant credit, and the reason I'm excited about this is because it's not just Sunday, it's the fact that it carried over from the last half of the season last year, right? Where for a while we've been talking about Grant Delpit, 2018 Grant Delpit, 2019 Grant, whatever Grant Delpit you're going to get, right? Grant Delpit went from being this generational safety prospect in 2018 at LSU to 2019 falling all the way to the second round and becoming the Cleveland Browns, unfortunately tearing his Achilles, coming back, and it just never felt right with Grant. We never felt like we knew where to put Grant. And then somehow in the last half of last year, through all the chaos, through all the mess, we find a nice spot for Grant Delpit to be successful, where he can be around the football and make plays. And it's exactly where everybody told you he couldn't play. In the box. It's hilarious how that works, right? Sometimes our evaluations are off. Grant Delpit showed that for the last few games last year. He was leading this team in run stops. And then he got put into a spot to where, hey, you're going to probably have to do more because Juan Thornhill isn't out there. And he did so much more than more. He lined up in man coverage against wide receivers, shut them down. He shut down screens all game. He shut down run plays all game. He had 5 stops, which was second in the NFL for safeties. He was really, really good. And it's an understatement. Like, that was elite level safety stuff. I don't know what his official position is, but I know that the Browns are dedicated to keeping him on the field. If you look at the Browns, if you look at the snap counts, one of the things that'll be interesting to you is that Ronnie Hickman played a ton of snaps in this game. I'm going to look up the exact number, but he played a ton. Now, why did Ronnie Hickman play a ton? Was it because that was the plan? They weren't going to deviate from the game plan, no matter, regardless of if Juan Thornhill could go? I tend to think so. I feel like they have the utmost confidence in everybody in that secondary. And they decided, hey, you know what? We're still going to play these 3 safety sets, and they're not going to get us out of it. I'm looking for Ronnie Hickman right now. And I believe he played 10 snaps, which is crazy for somebody who is a undrafted free agent. Even DeAnthony Bell got in there in the game. Ronnie McLeod played 55. Grant Delpit played 55 snaps. JOK played 43. It's interesting. Sometimes you would even see Grant Delpit lined up with the linebackers. He's such a important piece to what this Browns defense wants to do. We have talked so much about the big pieces that this defense has had for years, right? When you need cornerstone pieces, when you look for cornerstone pieces, the Browns have all the cornerstone pieces you want. They have Myles Garrett. They have Denzel Ward. Those are your cornerstone pieces. Those are the guys you're like, hey, they're 2 of the best at their position. But what the Browns defense has missed, despite the fact that they've been very talented throughout the years, are these other pieces, right? You look at Philadelphia's defense, and they have a couple of guys who especially last year, Javon Hargraves, right? Brandon Graham. Those are probably the biggest names there. But what makes that defense great is the little connective tissue, right? It's the fact that Hassan Reddick can get a lot of production. It's the fact that they can plug in a bunch of safeties and linebackers. They had Chauncey Gardner Johnson last year. Like, they had all of these guys that were working together to create a great defense. Some great names, yes, but a lot of connective tissue. You look at the San Francisco 49ers, another great defense. Yeah, Nick Bosa is there. Fred Warner is there. Those are two certified dogs. I think Nick Bosa is probably like the best of that second tier of elite edge rushers. I think there's like Myles Garrett right now. There's Micah Parsons. There's TJ Watt. That's the elite. Nobody's really touching those guys, but Nick Bosa's right there behind them. And then you got Fred Warner, who's the best linebacker in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says about Roquan Smith. Watch Fred Warner play football and watch the Ravens play football and tell me which linebacker stands out to you more when you watch the game. Because all I hear about Roquan Smith is the only thing I see of Roquan Smith, to be honest with you. Like, I think he's a good linebacker, but Roquan's more close to CJ Mosley than I think he is to Fred Warner. Fred Warner, you watch him play all over the field. Pass breakups, not a liability in pass coverage, a dog in run defense. And Roquan's really good in run defense, but I digress. They have those two players, but they also had that connective tissue, right? They have some guys on the inside. They have some guys on the outside. It's not just about the big names for them. The New York Jets are another great defense, right? You know Quentin Williams. You know Sauce Gardner. But what makes them special? It's like the Michael Clemens of the world, right? Like the Quincy Williams of the world. All these little like connective dots. The DJ Reeds of the world, right? They have so many pieces of connective tissue. And that's what this Browns defense has missed. Yeah, we got Miles. Yeah, we got Denzel. But what else? Well, now we can say, hey, we got Grant. Now we can say, hey, we got Za'Darius. Now we can say, hey, we got Dalvin Tomlinson. Now we can say, hey, we got JOK. Now that we can say, hey, we have Martin Emerson. We have Greg Newsome. And let's talk about Martin Emerson. He makes this whole thing work. The Browns deciding that they're going to be in three safeties, leave three corners out there, and just let it ride with five in the box at times. Or sometimes six, right? That works because Grant Delpit. That works because Martin Emerson. Here's why I say that. One, when you're deciding to go six in the box, right? Because you want to have five in coverage, you can play that with Grant Delpit out there. Because Grant Delpit and Taki or whatever linebacker you want to leave in can be out there, and Grant Delpit can be a linebacker who can cover. And then you can just rush with your four down lineman if you want. You can live with that. Why you can live with it on the back end is, okay, you have five guys in coverage, right? Two deep safeties and three corners. You need one to play the inside. You need two on the boundary. A lot of teams don't have another boundary option. A lot of teams have somebody who can get picked on that other boundary. Martin Emerson is not somebody to be played with. It got to the point to where I felt legitimately that it was more preferable to throw at Denzel Ward than it would be to keep challenging Martin Emerson. Because while Denzel is the superior corner from an athletic standpoint, a coverage standpoint, a technique standpoint, and there's no doubt in that, Martin Emerson's the one that's going to get the pick. He's the one that has the nose for the football. He's the one that if you get caught lacking just a little bit, he might catch it because he has excellent hands for a DB. We've seen him do it multiple times where he just stole a football from a wide receiver. Like, he has this knack and nose for footballs. He has this knack in for just creating turnovers. He created a turnover in the preseason, right? Where he just like forced the incompletion to go up in the air, and then Ronnie McLeod caught it. Martin Emerson, Grant Delpit, they make this whole thing work. If you don't feel as good about your third corner as you feel about Martin Emerson being on the outside, you can't run this defense. If you felt any worse about that third safety to be there, or if you didn't have somebody who can cover, think about this. The Browns can run out a package there where they keep JOK and Grant Delpit in the box along with the front four. So that's 6 in the box. And they can have 5 in coverage. And that could be Martin Emerson. That can be Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome on the inside with 2 deep safeties, Juan Thornhill, Ronnie McLeod. And I don't know if any other defense can do anything that's similar to that. Like if the Browns can continue, and this week will be a test, right? Because I expect versus the Steelers that they're going to run pretty much a similar game plan where they're going to let their edges, well, they're going to let their boundary guys live on that boundary, have some safety help, and really like try to squeeze up the middle of the field so Kenny Pickett doesn't get comfortable, right? Because Kenny stinks at finding the middle of the field. You don't want to make his life easier. You want to make him to make mistakes. You give him man coverage on the outside. You know he's going to take it. You can have a chance for some turnovers that way. I think we're going to see a similar game plan on Monday. And I'm just interested to see how it continues to work. Because right now, when I just think about this in my head, and I've run these simulations in my head about how the Browns can run these personnel packages that they like to run out there, being able to put 6 in, have Grant Delpit in there, and even a JOK in there as 2 guys who can cover, if need be, they can cover. They're athletic enough to attack horizontally. So if a team decides to screen them or something, you can still make a play with those linebackers. That is a defense that has everything covered. Truthfully. And that's why Miles is going to be great. Zadarius is going to be great. Denzel is going to be great. All that stuff is good and great. But if this defense wants to be the best defense in the NFL, if this defense wants to take that next step from, hey, they could be really good to they might be elite, they might be top 3, they might be the best defense in football, which is crazy given what they were last year. It's going to be about how those 2 guys play. Because if those 2 guys continue to play at a level that allows the Browns to get away with their personnel packages, which allows the Browns to get away with how they're running things on the line of scrimmage, which allows the Browns to get away with how aggressive they are at the line of scrimmage. Those 2 playing that well will allow them to get away with it. And if they can get away with that and be aggressive at the line of scrimmage, and oh, by the way, it's Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith and Dalvin Tomlinson coming at you at the line of scrimmage. And oh, by the way, if you throw it, it's Martin Emerson and Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome back there. There's not enough scheming in the world that's going to get you out of that problem. This is pure basic football. You can't hold the ball long because we might tackle you, and you can't throw the ball unless somebody's wide open because we might pick it off. That's just pure football right there. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think that those 2 are going to be the secret to the Browns' defensive success? Let me know in the comment section below.